it's different rules for different clubs. So you just have to know the rules when you go into that club.
Have you ever worked at a place where they can touch?
Yeah, at Blaze.
Okay, and how was that?
They were like grinding. Yeah, it was a mess.
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't like it. Mm-mm.
And what happens behind the curtain?
Anything.
Really?
Depends on who you're dancing. Some girls just go in there and dance. I've been in there, but it was strictly just talking. Somebody paid me for my time.
Yeah.
But I stayed away from it because I do know what it can lead to. So
are there people paying for sex?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's happening?
Yeah, for sure.
Was that happening when you were dancing?
Oh, definitely.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
But when you were dancing, they couldn't touch?
Oh, no, they were touching.
They were touching.
So it all depends. So I danced in 3 different genres there, pretty much there. So there was a peep show. Mm-hmm. Then there was the burlesque dancing that I danced on the stage, and then you had the lap dancing clubs where it's like the griminess and and the touching and the pawing and the more disrespectful than anything. So in New York, you had a bunch of different clubs that you was able to go to, but no, it was very much touching. Yes, but when I first started in the club, there was no was a peep show. It wasn't really a club, so to speak. And they would drop the money and the window would go up and then, you would entice them and dance with, and there was no touching with that.
Okay.
But then as time went on, then the glasses and the plastic windows went away and then you're able to reach in and touch. And so, it was different.
Did you ever feel disrespected?
In the lap dancing clubs, I did. I ventured out with some friends, because they were like, well, come on, we're going to go uptown. We're going to try this other club. And I was like, okay, let me go up there. And so I went there, and by the time I changed in my clothes and went from the dressing room to the bar to get a drink, I was pawed, squeezed. I'm like, what is this? If I'm downtown, you paid to touch me.
Yeah.
Right now, I'd have been pawed and felt up and squeezed. I said, I don't like this club because they're disrespectful. And, they'll know what what you doing here, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, okay.
So they were disrespectful.
Oh, they was very disrespectful.
I don't think people know how to differentiate. Like, it's entertainment. We're there to entertain. Mm-hmm. I'm not there to find love. I'm not there to make it's entertainment. Yeah. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel disrespected?
I have, but I also realize hey, I am butt naked in front of people, but that doesn't give them the right to, disrespect me. But I shut it down immediately though. So I don't.
Well, it was an incident where you felt disrespected.
I danced for a guy for probably an hour, feet hurting, and he did not pay me. Right. So I was like, you owe me money. You asked me to dance. And he felt like he didn't owe me that much. I'm not a shiesty person. Like, what you owe me is what you owe me.
Yeah.
I got people in there say they'll add an extra 100, 200. I don't do that. Like, what you owe me. And he didn't do it. I said, look, we do this the easy way or the hard way. Because if I go get security, they're going to probably beat you up.
Yeah.
He stood up, looked over me like, he put his head like, I was like, oh, you're going to buck at me. So I said, don't worry about it. I went and got security and they beat him up. And he took his money out of his pocket and I got paid.
But when he was bugging it, was he like physically intimidating?
Yeah, like he was in my face. Like, I'm like, oh, you're really going to hit me.
Oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, I was like, don't worry about it. I ain't arguing no more. I went and got security and they handled it for me.
Do you ever feel unsafe?
Leaving the parking lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Like I said, I do a lot of content. A lot of people know me. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and then sometimes like I could be in the club and people just walk up to me. And not even in the club, I could be anywhere. I get a lot of random, hey, Stallion. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how do you know me? But I'm like, duh, you do social media.
Yeah.
So I do sometimes, but, I have security most of the time walk me to my car. So, and I do carry a gun, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Most of the time they walk you to your car?
Yeah, for the most, yeah. They have security guards from the front door to the parking lot. They have them spread out.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Well, when you say most times, so me,
they have security guards every night after work.
And honestly, this is why I am a big advocate of labor organizing around this, because you are literally putting your life at risk sometimes.
We are every night.
Yeah. And people mistake the fantasy that you're providing for reality. And they start to think, no, I have a relationship with Stallion. She danced for me, not like she danced for those other guys. Right. She was looking at me, giving me the eye contact. Yes. And you're like, it's a job.
Run into some crazy men.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
really?
I'm like, yo, you don't even know me. Like, what's wrong with you?
Tell me about one of the crazy men.
Dance for a guy. He was like infatuated me. I'm like, okay, I'm noticing it. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I get my money, I go dance. He's following me around the club. So I'm like trying to walk away. And I'm like, I tell Kim, like, hey, yo, keep this man away from me. Like, then, they leave and they come back and they're coming more often. And it's like, And then I had a guy tell me he loved me. And I'm like, I don't even know you. You don't even know my real name. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
And I was honest, like, I'm not a liar to these people. Like, hey, I have a man or whatever, you know, at the time. Like, I don't know, it's weird, but it's kind of, it's scary a little bit. Like, how could you be like that obsessed with someone that you don't know?
Yeah.
It's a fantasy. So what it is that they buy into the fantasy. And the thing about in the peep shows, we have what we call the fantasy booths. And so in the fantasy booth, what they would do is they would come in and they'll be on one side of the glass, we'll be on the other side of the glass, you know, and either they'll tell us to take off all our clothes or they just want to sit there and talk, you know, you just talk to them on the phone. But what happens is you almost become like their fantasy girl, and they look forward to coming to see you, sit down and talk to you. Of course, you know, they take care of their business, they jerk off and do whatever, you know, on the other side.
In front of you?
Yeah, that was a part of them being in the fantasy booth.
Yeah.
But it's a fantasy that us women sell to them, and because they say, some of them will tell me, well, I can't get this at home. So, you know, we come out here in order to get it, you know, because you're beautiful and, you know, you listen to me. And so it's a fantasy that they buy into, and then they look at you as their girlfriend or their, you know, because then you have your regulars who always come to see you. And if you're not there, they may see somebody else just to talk to, but for the most part, they have adopted you as their dancing girlfriend.
Did you ever like have a situation where you felt unsafe, where you had to like really draw a boundary, like, hey, you can't contact me anymore, you can't come anymore, or something like that?
Well, yeah, I did have a situation like that, and bouncers had to put the guy out because, you know, he looked at me as his girl. I'm not your girl. I'm here. I'm working.
Yeah.
Look, as a matter of fact, you know, I have a man.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's why like, you have a woman.
Yeah. Exactly. So no, it was very uncomfortable, especially back in the 80s. A few of the girls ended up getting killed. I mean, some things was in the news. Yeah, it can be very dangerous because you never know. Like when you leave the club, you don't know who's standing around watching, waiting, and going to follow you at home. So I used to always get on the train. So I would get in the corner. I would always get in a corner seat and have my back up against the wall and just be ready. I got my mace. I got my knife. I got whatever I think I'm going to need. Because what you will not do is take me out.
Yes, yes. I really want like it to be a nationally organized union.
Yeah.
But you all have talked about men and relationships. Are you in a relationship?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And is it with a man? How does he feel about you stripping?
Well, I was dancing before I met him, so he understood what I did.
Did you meet him at the club?
Well, like, we knew, like, we kind of, in a way.
Okay.
We see each other in passing.
Okay.
But I don't think any man I've ever dated been cool with it. I think it comes with me. And I kind of stand firm on not, I stand firm on taking myself out the club. So, so it's like you kind of have to deal with it until I get myself together, or like, you know, you can show me the path, or, you know, guide me into, you know, another world. So, but I'm very respectful with what I do, though. I know I have a man, and that doesn't stop when I walk through the workforce.
Right.
So,
and you are a mother.
Yeah.
And you don't. I want to make sure we honor your privacy and safety because you're a mother. Do you want to say if you have a son or a daughter?
I have a 7-year-old little girl.
Okay. Does she know what you do for a living?
No.
Okay. Will you ever tell her what you?
Probably when she's older.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't want her to, you know, I don't want her to take that same route that I did. So as far as just dancing, everything else, but dancing, no.
Yeah.
Because it's mentally and physically draining.
Yeah. How did you find yourself stripping?
Ooh, I moved to Atlanta. I was working at the mall, paychecks for like $200-300. My car was breaking down every other week. I couldn't afford my rent. It was just bad.
Yeah.
And a girl I worked with, she coming to work. I'm like, you're mighty fresh for somebody that works at this job. Like, she kept herself up. And she's like, oh, I dance on the side. She took me to the Follies. And I just, like you said, it was like, wow. I was amazed. I was like, oh, wow. So she put me on like that. And I just started dancing from then on out.
Take me back to that first time, though, because, like, I would imagine the first time you're walking on stage and you have to take off your clothes. You're obviously beautiful. Like me, I think, honestly, I would be body conscious. You know, can we turn off the lights? You know? Do you have a filter or something? Like, I would feel so like, I don't even see me. I would feel very nervous doing it. So take me back to that first time. Did you feel confident? Were you just out there?